Mr. Robot has brought us its 7th episode, and oh man, what an episode we got. I'm going to frame this discussion around the reveal and the implications of it. I will spend the post-video discussion just gushing about the episode, so here we go. Regardless of whether the show comes together as a whole or not, I'm glad we got the show. If for nothing else, then we got this episode. We pick up soon after we left off with Elliot getting transported to Krista's house in the boot of Vera's car. This is the most variety we're going to get for the whole episode, as it takes place in 2 rooms only. Vera's plan is to break Elliot down so he can be the one to build him back up. I've seen mixed things on YouTube and discussion forums on Vera. Some people love his shtick, some people don't.
What'd she call me?
I really like Vera, and I think Elliot Villar, I'm not sure how to say that. Elliot Villar does a phenomenal job playing this philosophical warrior, degenerate, spiritual wanderer. The mashup of psychopath gangster with shaman visiting cosmic philosopher is a joy for me to watch, and I see how it could miss the mark for some, but it really works for me, and everything in this episode came together to bring out the best in Vera.
Are you calling me a little bitch?
In the climax of the episode, we got the reveal that Elliot was sexually abused by his father. This is something that's been foreshadowed for quite a while, and some people have put the theory forward online over the years, but to actually have it confirmed and to see that pain on Elliot's face and on Krista's as she puts the nail in Elliot's repression, the coffin of Elliot's repression, with the line, "Elliot, did your father sexually abuse you?" And just that look in Elliot's face as tears going down his face. It's a viewing experience I'm not going to forget anytime soon, and the last few days it's been on my mind, and the twists and turns of the episode and how they were presented. It was perfect storytelling, having us, the viewer, know what Krista is saying well before Elliot, and having us go through that denial in the agonizing minutes of Elliot's realization was both cruel and beautiful. I have to give full props to Rami Malek and Gloria Rubin for what they did in this scene. It's really impressive. And it has to be mentioned how respectfully this episode dealt with the subject matter. The reveal really recontextualizes so many lines throughout the show and shines new light on the flashback scenes with Edward Alderson. Think of lines like, "You're sick and you just don't want to admit it," from young Elliot to his dad at the cinema. Originally we thought that's about the cancer, but now with what we know now, it takes on a whole new darker meaning. All the "I'm sorries" from Edward, we always thought that was for the window. Obviously not. One thing that always did seem strange but now makes total sense was a man bringing his fucking preteen child to go see Pulp fucking Fiction. That's just, what the fuck? And on that note, I saw someone on the subreddit mention that Elliot says in a conversation with Angela, I believe in season 3, she asks if he's okay, and Elliot says pretty fucking far from okay, which is a line that Marcellus Wallace says when he's asked if he's okay after the notorious Gimp scene in Pulp Fiction. Won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but it's thematically relevant. On top of that, there's the copies of Lolita dotted throughout the whole series. I'm pretty sure there's one in the room with Angela and White Rose, that interview scene where Angela talks to her younger self. Is the implication here that Angela was a victim of Edward as well? Are we to assume that Lolita's presence in this scene is purely a filmmaking trick or foreshadowing only? Or should we be reading into it more? For instance, does White Rose know what Edward did? And though I hate to say it, I doubt Darlene escaped the abuse if it went as far as Angela. I'm wondering how much Darlene is kept from Elliot and how much she remembers. It's hard to imagine Elliot and Darlene are going to get much time to get a heart-to-heart with how things are right now. Darlene and Dom are in the cold iron grip of the Dark Army since Janice's awkward interruption last week, so don't know if White Rose is going to use this information against Elliot in any way, or if she even knows. If we are to assume she knows, I can't see her using it against him or Darlene. They've clearly been trying to make White Rose a sympathetic villain with her supervillain origin story the beginning of an episode a few episodes ago. And I don't know about you, but if she was to weaponize the abuse, that would pretty much remove any shred of sympathy I ever could have possibly felt for her. But maybe that's the point. I'm not sure exactly how this reveal is going to affect the Deus Group meeting or the Third Altar. It really complicates things with the Third Altar a lot, in my opinion. I'm not sure how these two, the third altar reveal and this reveal, are going to play off of each other and how they're going to intertwine. That's going to be really interesting how they do that. Anyway, what do you think? I'm most conflicted about what the third altar, what's happening with the third altar, and what they're gonna do with that and the new reveal. What's your thoughts on that? Given what we know now, what are they gonna do with the third altar and that? It's weird. I'm gonna transition into the end of video looser discussion. So if you stop now, thanks for watching. I'm just gonna go gush about how much I love this fucking episode. That was one dark as fuck episode, and it really struck a chord with me. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I didn't enjoy the feelings it was making me feel, but it was making me feel some pretty. I was incredibly down during it. It was such a bummer because I have given, when you get into a show, you do commit your time to it. It's not like a movie. It's like reading a book, or maybe it's more akin to a very good long novels, like series of novels, like the Farseer trilogy. It was one I got really into, by Robin Hobb. I got really attached to the character of Fitzchivalry, and it's something that happens with shows, and I don't really feel that much with as much with movies, but because I feel like it's more of a long form storytelling, a result of long form storytelling. But this, especially seeing a very solid arc being done. Like, think of where we started with Elliot taking down a pedophile in the very first episode, very first scene of the first episode, and that one scene that all links back all the way up, fucking 4 seasons, 6 episodes later. That scene now makes total sense. You know what I mean? And we've gone on Elliot with that journey. We've experienced him. We've grown. I'm sure a lot of us have grown as people since beginning the show with him. It's been going on for what now, 5 years, half a decade. A lot can change in that amount of time, and a lot has changed in my life in that period of time. So to see these characters that we've been attached to go through these things, it's rough, and you feel for them. And overall, how this episode tackled the subject was very, as I said in the script, very respectful. And I have to give full props to everyone involved in this episode. I loved the master shot they kept going back to that was framed like a stage, with Peanuts and Javier. I think it was Javier. Peanuts and Javier, they were like in the background, and you had Vera sitting across from Elliot. That, very cool shot. It was framed like a stage. Very cool. I love the music. Matt Quayle consistently, absolutely hits home with the music. It's so good. It's on my frequent rotation in my music. Listen, in my music rotation, it's in there. I'm listening to the Matt Quayle stuff quite often. There's a few soundtracks and shows that stand out to me, and the two that come to mind immediately are Utopia and Mr. Robot. Some crazy good stuff. Vera's actor, Elliot Villar, he did such a good job. I can't get over his performance, and I'm aware a lot of people don't really like Vera's shtick, but I love it. Just devils in the details. What does he say? Details, devils in that shit. Just that, that quirky little off kilter way of delivering these idioms, and in general his speech pattern. It's very appealing to me. It's quirky, it's weird, it's fun, it's interesting. So as a whole, just him on screen, he's fun and interesting. Love to see him dead. Absolutely delighted he's dead. He's a scumbag, psychopath. He killed Shayla. Despite what he said about his abuse, look what happened. What was he doing to Krista just before Mr. Robot showed up? Vera and Mr. Robot had their interaction. They first introduced to each other. And it is interesting, Mr. Robot showed up when there was some touching going on, if you know what I mean. I think that's quite intentional. But like Vera, we have to remember that everything that Vera did, at the end of the day, it was all calculated to break him down so he could build him up. It was just trying to manipulate Elliot to make him his partner, his willing partner. And I don't think it was working because Elliot was looking at Vera when Krista stabbed him, so obviously he would have seen Krista coming. So what in the moment we might have interpreted as, you're right, I'm on your side, was keep looking at me, don't turn around so she can fucking stab you. Please keep looking at me. But yeah, it was calculated, so we can't feel too bad for Vera. As much as I love the character and as much as I enjoyed having him on screen and having him back again, and it didn't feel forced to me. As much as I enjoyed all of that, I'm okay to see him dead because he was a fucking wanker. So that's all good. Bye.
A frog once upon a time came forth from his home in the marsh and proclaimed to all the beasts that he was a learned physician, skilled in the use of drugs, and able to heal all diseases. A fox asked him, "How can you pretend to prescribe for others when you are unable to heal your own lame gait and wrinkled skin?"